the 120th year of this great festivity. Okay, excited about it. You know, I'm a big Prop 200 guy, so if you go to when things were equally funded, go back to when we became a university in 1958. We've got the lead in the series, 33, 26, and 1. 1946, after the war, every single year from that point on, we played a game, 40, 32, and 1 in our favor. It's pretty good. Ooh, I'll get a little trivia. Territorial Cup. Why is it called the Territorial Cup? No takers? Okay.
It's not the trophy.
Well, so the trophy, 1899, okay? November 30th, 1899, Thanksgiving Day, by the way, first meeting between the two schools. We win, it was the Tempe Normal School, we win 11-2. That, Arizona's not a state yet. 1912 they become a state. So the territory of those 4 schools that played football was Phoenix High School, Phoenix Indian High School, the school down south, and us. And we won all those games that year. So we were the territorial champion. And then they named it after the Territorial Cup because we were U.S. territory at that point. I think it's a great rivalry. It's been, the NCAA has declared it the longest rivalry in all of college football, which makes it special. And getting to be a part of it last year, you find out how real it is, how much the hatred is, and it grows. I'm excited about it, excited to play. They're a good football team. Minus the 7 losses in a row, they're good on offense. They run the ball very well. They've got 2 quarterbacks that are very dynamic, different. Everybody knows about Khalil Tate. He's 1 play away from scoring every single play. We've got to make sure they can't run the ball. And then I think Gunnell's going to be a special quarterback down the road. He's done some really nice things this year. And then I think J.J. Taylor is special. Hard to tackle. He's explosive. I think you can compare him to C.J. Verdell from Oregon last week. He hits that thing downhill. He's a jitterbug. You can't see him because he's behind the line of scrimmage, and he's 5'6". You can't see him. So he's on you before you know it. And let me just say, what's the right word? That old targeting rule, they should call on running backs. They're supposed to, they don't. But he comes around that corner violent with it, and I love it. I love the way he plays football, the way he plays football. That's how you want to play. So go ahead, give me questions. Wow, that was easy.
How was the week of practice?
Good. The energy's been good. I thought the energy was great last week before Oregon, which is really good for a team that's coming off 4 losses in a row. I said it in the deal after the game on Saturday. Competition. We talk about competition. We compete in everything we do. Classroom, upstairs in the meeting rooms, out on the practice field. We do a lot of competition one-on-ones, which I'm a big fan of because of the speed of the tempo. And I think that's helped significantly. And you're going to play the way you practice. And we changed some things up in practice. We tried to give them an advantage on the first 2 plays. It worked in our favor. I'm sticking with it. And then, for 53 minutes, we played really good. They hit us on a couple screens where the worst part about those screens is we practiced that stuff, and their O-line did a great job of throwing our defensive line to the ground. We had too many guys on the ground. The guys that are supposed to retrace and make the tackles, which we've been pretty good at, they were laying on their face, and they're a step behind because of it. So give Oregon credit. Now, they haven't been a big screen team coming into this week. They will be. We'll see it until we stop it. The disappointing thing is we stopped the first 2, and then they hit us on the long 39-yarder. That was the longest play of the game. And that was the first time they threw us to the ground, and we didn't recover. We didn't react well after that on those. To say we got the same thing happen to us. And then we got to be more aggressive in the secondary on those things to force those linemen to make contact on those things earlier. Go ahead.
Is it tough to prepare for 2 different quarterbacks and more work?
It is this week because they're so dynamically different. And so they run different plays with the different quarterbacks in there. So you're basically practicing two semi-game plans. A lot of that stuff will marry together, but now it's up to relaying the information to the kids And we've done a pretty good job this week by how we've done it with Ethan and Joey. We have an advantage. We have a guy that's similar to what Khalil does, and we have a guy similar to what Gunnell does. So those guys have been able to identify and practice who's at quarterback and know what play's coming, what set of plays they should be exposed to. So that's been beneficial, having Joey and Ethan and going against each other. That should help on Saturday because now they can recognize and they can call stuff out based off of formation, based off of tendencies that we see and who's in the game. So is it hard? Yes, but I think they've done a good job so far in the first 2 days of identifying who's a quarterback, which is significant.
Yeah, for linebacker stuff against 11 personnel, have you done that in previous years?
So against Wyoming in the 2016 championship game, we went with 4 linebackers against their 12 and 22 personnel sets. Against TCU in 2008, we went with 6 D linemen. They were really, really good up front, and they got into a bunch of end-over formations. And so in order to be able to match all those gaps, very similar to at the beginning of the year, we played with Michigan State and then Cal, where they'll put 4 tight ends on the line of scrimmage, and now you've got like 10 gaps there you have to cover. And when you ask a safety to cover a gap on a 300-pound guy, usually it don't work. So I've used a lot of different combinations.
Even against one running back, one tight end?
Yes, and that some of that depends on what that tight end is dynamic. So 48 for Oregon, if you go back, and you have to watch these guys to see where they come from. I watched I'll go through and see what these guys did in high school so that we can identify what their skill set is if you haven't seen something on tape. He was a D lineman last year. So I liked the matchup of our linebackers covering that guy. Whenever 18 was in the game, we put our base group in the game because that dude's like a wideout. So if you know what they're good at and you know what matchups you can expose, we've done that before. You just have to be careful because they did catch us one time with 18 in the game, and we got dirty eyes. Elijah Ward is supposed to be covering 18, and he looks in the backfield, and they complete the one that they had to review. We didn't cover him very well because of dirty eyes. Now, in practice, we'd make a big emphasis on 18 and 48, so maybe he saw 18 and thought, I'm not supposed to cover that guy normally, but it was a one tight end set. So that comes with experience. That was about his 15th or 16th rep on the season. Now, he played pretty good. He made 2 mistakes, but he played pretty good. And matching up, I thought it gave us the best opportunity to be successful. It worked really well early, and then we went to the base group. We really caused him a lot of issues in the beginning of the fourth quarter. We had played predominantly man coverage for 3 quarters. Probably of the first, probably the first 68 snaps, 64 of them were man coverage. And then we got into the fourth quarter where on third down, we had them in some longer down and distances because we were playing the run a little bit better on early downs. We threw a couple of zones at him. He threw it right to us. The one on Jack Jones, the one on Kalen. It looked just like where we were playing our man coverage with the tight end and the 2 linebackers on tight end and back. And all of a sudden they split, and where he thinks he's going to run a man combination, he threw it right to him. And if Cam Phillips catches that ball, game's over 24-14. If Jack Jones catches the first one that he drops off his thing, that score's going to be 31-7, and who knows? But we've got to be better at finishing that last 7 minutes. You can't give up 59-second, 43-second touchdowns off of screens. 3 plays, two of those drives were 3 plays. Move the ball on offense, get a couple first downs, get off the field like we were on the first prior to the half, and then it's not even close. The stuff that other than those screens, we gave up 108 yards on screens. Okay, he's a good player, and the very first one on their first touchdown drive, we send an all-out pressure, and I don't know that we came aggressive enough, but Chase is up there in press, and because of the cut split, he's just right outside the numbers. He has all that room to work. We would have probably been better off with him playing off, but he didn't want to get beat on a slant, so he took that away, and Herbert made a great throw. He threw it right outside of Chase's shoulder. Trace was so worried about taking away the inside on his initial step back, he kind of gave him an open rail, and he beat him on the fade route. That exact same route later in the game, Chase turns around the end zone and drops for an interception. So if he would have played it that way the first time, we'd probably get off the field on 3rd and 6, and they don't score in the first half. But that's going to happen. I mean, he's projected to be a first rounder. So he made some good throws. I thought the back shoulder throw in the third quarter, the fourth quarter over there, we sent double A-gap blitz and we get close. That ball is as good a throw as you can make in football. I mean, he ran a route. Chase has it covered. Johnny Johnson, who is a great player, by the way, I wish he was here. He turns outside. It's a back throw to show. Beautiful. You're not going to stop that. I don't care who you are. You ain't going to stop that. So they're going to get some of those in ball. They didn't score on that drive. We get the roughing the passer penalty, and all of a sudden, we don't respond. We got to overcome those things. I thought that was the big turn. Now, I thought the 4th and 1, and we did it all week long. And on Wednesday, I showed them 4 different clips. In the Auburn game, they had a 4th and 2 early in the fourth quarter, like ours. Now ours was in the first quarter. 4th and 2, Auburn stuffed them. They lost. In the Washington game, they had a 4th and 1 down in the red zone. They bring 30 across, Verdell across. Across in motion and run a little flat route. 3rd and 2, they score a touchdown. They win the game. Against Cal, it's 10-7. They have a 4th and 2 that they complete a little pick route and flat. They win the game. 4th and 1 against us, we stuff them down the red zone, about to score. We win the game. And we told our guys all week long, it's going to come down to one of those plays during the game. They're either going to go fast to the line of scrimmage and they're going to try and maul you off, but at some point there's going to be a 3rd and 2 or a 4th and 2 somewhere in there. They're going to go for it, and whoever makes that play is going to win the game. When we came off the sideline, when we came off the field, when Kobe made that stop, and he did a great job because he really has the tight end man-to-man, and you're taking a chance because they can block down and get vertical. We told him, if that guy shows block, go get him. Hit him right in the backfield. Now, if he gives you any kind of a pass dance, you better cover him. Now, you're putting a whole lot of pressure on one guy. He made a heck of a play. And when they came off the sideline, you could see it in their eyes. There was the play you talked about. We're winning this game. They played pretty dang good after that. They had 17 yards the rest of the first half. I mean, they played really good after that. We just got to finish it.
This is senior night, so Kobe, Kalen, George, what are they establishing the foundation for?
I think Kobe's been our best player on defense and has done a good job of leading this group. George, I'm heartbroken for George because here's what he's been telling his teammates, and it's football language. You talk about it all the time. You never know when football's going to end. You're always one play away from it being over, or you're one play away from being up if you're a backup. And George he's been tremendous to this program for the 5 years he's been here. We try like heck to look at every possible way. If there's any way to get him a 6-year, which he played over 5 games in every season he's played. We lost him to a shoulder earlier in his career, and then we lose him to the knee. He healthy would have probably been invited to an NFL summer camp. He doesn't make mistakes. He plays hard. He doesn't get moved off the ball. With the knee, he's going to struggle to have that opportunity. So, like most people, I think I can think of 2 off the top of my head. Football does not end when you want it to. Football ends on its terms, not on your terms. Barry Sanders, Jim Brown. Jim Brown played 8 years, probably the best football player to ever play on both sides of the ball. But after 8 years, he decided he was done. That doesn't happen very often. And so he's been sharing that with his teammates, and I hope it makes a big impact on the young guys because now it's hit one of their brothers. Now it's hit close to home. And what he's given to the program, now he's given up his knee for the program, and it was a gruesome hit. I mean, he gets hit by D. Black coming off flying around, and that's football, that's ball. And I think him being able to express that just magnifies what he's done for this program because now he's teaching a lesson along with what happened to him. And he's been a great player for us this year. The last 2 years, at the very beginning of the year, I was very disappointed with what he was doing in probably the first 3 to 4 games. I thought he was better, so much so that I told him, if you don't start playing better, I'm taking 17 off and putting 45 back on because 45 was a lot better player than 17. And 17 must have meant something to him because he started playing better. And the last 5 weeks, he might have been our best D lineman, him and Jermaine. Now, there's not a big drop-off when Rowe comes in. Rowe's done a really good job. Where you get a drop-off now is Lole's now playing 70 plays. Rowe's now playing 60 plays, okay? That's where we're going to see a little bit of diminish. They did a good job in the second half. The first 2 drives, Oregon did a great job of getting push up front and knocked us off the ball a little bit. And then the next 3 drives, they didn't get that push anymore. That might have been a little bit of us getting banged on a little bit for a while. We made enough. Now, we made a couple of shoestring tackles that those things are going to be 70-yard runs if we don't get them on the ground, and we tackled well in the secondary. I did see a back tackle from Chase that lit me up. I mean, they snuck out one, and he got out, and he came over, and I had fire coming out my eyes, and he was like, "Coach, I know I did it with my back. I'm sorry. So he identified it, but we just got to get away from it. And that was the first time he's done it all year. So it didn't creep back up. He had a couple later tackles in the game. I mean, the way we played in the secondary and getting our hands on the ball, that's kind of what I envision coming into this deal. So we gotta play that way again.
When you reflect last year's game and your defense was even younger then than it is now, do you think the performance that you had the first 3 quarters compared to the fourth, was that really just the emotion of the young players in the first part of the game and just settling down to the fourth quarter?
Well, I mean, give them credit. In the first 3 quarters, they did a great job reaching our D linemen. They reached us on some of our movement worse, better than anybody had all year. So we had to adjust at halftime the way we were doing some of our stunts because it's like I say all the time, you can beat your head against the wall and say we're going to do it right, or you can change something. So we had to change it. Now they scored twice in the third quarter, one off a turnover, but when we got to the fourth quarter, and see this is interesting. They were up 40-21. I view them as a running football team. They run the ball very well. I mean, they run for 180 yards a game. They average 445. They're very dangerous and dynamic in the running game from the quarterback counter. And when your quarterback like Khalil can run the ball, you get an extra blocker. The tailback can lead block for him, and those sweeps and stuff or the counters, you get an extra blocker. So now on football, when you're putting your game plan together and you put numbers, I mean, if they have 5.5, you got to have 5.5. If they have 5 on 6.5, then you got to have 6.5 match it up. Well, when the quarterback becomes the ball carrier, they get an extra guy that we don't have. So you have to be very dynamic in how many you're going to take blocks up so that they can't climb, so that you get an extra runner. Or you can play straight man coverage every single time and then get eaten alive by screens if they recognize it. When 17 comes in the game, then it's a different game plan. And if you watch him against Stanford, Tate, every time he touches the ball, he has the opportunity to go 80. In the fourth quarter, in that last 2-minute drive, we've got him in 3rd and 10 twice. We have a guy come scot-free, Kalen Thomas, and he just shakes his shoulders, and all of a sudden our dude's laying on his face, and he completes the ball. So, I mean, he's special. I thought now we settled down. The adjustments we made, they couldn't run the ball anymore in the fourth quarter when they were trying to run the ball out on stuff that they were doing early in the game. It wasn't like they changed plays. We played them better, and then we got turnovers. Ashari on the cover 2, I mean, that ball should have never been thrown, but he's there. It's the same catch that Cam could have had on Saturday night. Then the fumble, I mean, that we got lucky there. That was a bad handoff, but it bounced, and Tyler did a good job of getting to it. And I mean, I can remember, it's 3 minutes on the clock, and we get the ball right there. We gave it to him twice at the 22-yard line, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, 22 yards, we can take a couple minutes off the block, and they hand it to Eno, and that stinker scores. And I'm like, gosh, dang, are you kidding me? I mean, you don't give him 2 minutes and 30-some whatever seconds to go. We get him in 3rd and 10 twice, and then there's one, he threw a ball 82 yards from where he threw it to where it lands on the ground. I never seen that before. 82 yards in the air. He overthrew his receiver. I mean, it would have been a touchdown. And we're playing in cover 2. He's scrambling around, and I'm telling you, 82 yards in the air. I've never seen something like that. So it goes to tell you how strong he is and on the run, how special he is. We got to be able to stop the run and make him beat us with his arm and see if they can. And that's kind of what has happened the last 2 weeks. They haven't been able to run the ball great. Now, Utah's might be the best defense in the country. Oregon's up there. They were 14 before our game, and we got 500 and some yards on them. We got to match that. See if we can slow them down and keep them from running the ball.
I know you and your family are happy here, but if you had an opportunity to talk to New Mexico about their job, would you want to How do you view that with your history there?
Didn't you say one question ago? No, I'm the defensive coordinator here at Arizona State. I do love this place. I was taught a long time ago between Bronco, Mendenhall, and Rocky that when people talk, you always listen. And I think that's the best thing to do. When you're wanted, it's always nice. Okay. I don't chase anything. I haven't made a single phone call for somebody to get me that job. I mean, my name has been brought up for a couple jobs, and I haven't made a single phone call, and I won't. It's not what I do, and I was also taught that in this profession. Those guys that are constantly chasing jobs get a reputation, and that's just bad business. I love where we're at. I mean, we've got a great situation here with my family, but more so, or not more so, my family's number one to me. We have a great opportunity here. I really believe that. I mean, we made, as bad as it seems in some aspects, we've made progress, and we're going to continue to make progress. And I think, I mean, we've got a chance to do really good things around here. We're going to keep recruiting good players. We're going to keep, I mean, we're in the mold of building something. I mean, there's spurts that we play so good on defense. I mean, we're really good. And then those same guys will make just crazy mistakes that they weren't making earlier, that they'll get better and better and better. I mean, we progressed. And then we got a chance to do something really special. And now we're 2 years into this. I said last year when I said I'll quit, 3 years into this deal, I think we should be pretty good. And ain't nobody gonna have to chase me out of here. If we ain't any good, I'll walk away. I ain't got a problem with that. I think you have to be willing to bet on yourself in anything you do. And that's the confidence that I took with this job. And I think we're gonna build something really special around here. And I mean, I think what we have with Jaden, I mean, that's a generational quarterback. You've seen it live. I mean, that whole ice in the veins thing, I've never been around somebody that calm, that collective. And his favorite player is Deshaun Watson. Well, he got a long way to go to be that, but he has a lot of those characteristics. And Deshaun Watson changed Clemson's program. They were good, they were building, they were great when they got Deshaun Watson. We have a generational quarterback. So we've got to continue to build the O-line around him, and we're working our tails off in recruiting in many doors that haven't been exposed. And if we can shore that up and play good defense, you've got a generational quarterback, man. I mean, it may not happen all the time. So, I mean, we got a chance around here. We just got to keep building and building. Now, I know talk is cheap, and I know people get tired of hearing it, but they won't be tired when we're playing for a Rose Bowl championship. I promise you that. And I believe, like I said, you got to be willing to bet on yourself. And I strongly believe in that at this place. You got everything. Well, let's put it out there and see if we do. And Jaden's special. And the guy that's behind him, he ain't very bad either. You saw what he did. Shoot, if Tommy catches that ball, he might throw for 5 touchdowns against SC as a true freshman in his first start. And on the second play of the game, he almost dislocates his shoulder and plays. I mean, I think we've got 2 guys that are really special. One of them, like I say, is a generational quarterback. We don't know if Joey is or not. He might be. But, I mean, I'm excited for what our future holds here. I really am.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.